before really looking at the benefits of an EAP, I just thought it'd be more helpful if we look at really what an EAP is, quite basically. So an EAP stands for Employee Assistance Programme, and by that we mean a professional counselling, advice and information service which is set up to support staff within the organisation with issues that affect them both within the workplace but also in their personal lives as well. EAPs aren't there to replace the role of HR within the organisation or to take away any responsibilities of management. They're there to complement those structures that are already in place, essentially. Importantly, EAPs are there to provide an impartial opportunity for staff to discuss concerns they may have in their personal or work lives. So really it's away from the work place, and it's away from their personal situation where an individual may reach out to a family member or a friend and be told things that they would like to hear because it's comforting to tell your friend it's going to be okay, rather than things that might really they may need to hear and may actually make them help them to make progress in the particular situation that they're experiencing. Just coming on to look at really the way that an EAP can benefit employees within an organisation. So first and foremost, I touched on it there, it provides a confidential, impartial opportunity for staff members to get access to trained counsellors and advisors. And that's really important in the current climate. If you think of yourself, possibly, if you've ever tried to access talking therapies through the NHS, or if you've ever heard of a colleague or a friend of yours doing the same, you'll probably hear that there's a long wait time to actually get in front of a counsellor or a therapist. Now, EAPs are very good at providing timely support and timely access to those trained professionals. EAPs also really are there to help people establish healthy balance between their work life and their personal lives as well. So if you're feeling that the balance is tipped too far into one direction, that could be that you're staying late at work, or you're finding yourself constantly ruminating on thoughts in the evening about things that you might have to do in the workplace the next day, then actually speaking to a counsellor or speaking to one of the advisors at an EAP can really assist you in establishing a better balance. And sometimes that's around boundaries, for example, or allowing yourself certain times to think about those things that you might have to be concerned about in the workplace the following day. That can be things like meetings or email actions that are outstanding that you think to yourself, okay, I need to get onto that the next day. So it's very important that people recognise that EAPs are there to support that. So it's actually not about just helping you be a better employee, it's about having that balance between your personal and your work life. EAPs also provide more general support for well-being. So it's oftentimes people think with an EAP that we're there really to provide access to counselling. So if it's not a mental health or emotional health concern that you have, then really there's no value in going to your EAP. But actually the EAPs can assist with lifestyle and general well-being. And by that we mean EAPs, including Care First, will often have platforms available to you, that could be websites or apps, that can help you with your physical well-being, your sleep hygiene, all of the things that come around being well as an individual. EAPs are there to assist you with. Looking at some of the benefits more holistically to employers, so EAPs have often, for a very long time, been seen as ways for organisations to address any issues potentially that they have around mental health related absence. And over the last 20 or so years, we have seen a shift in the types of absences that cause people to be away from the workplace. And for much of that time, we've seen musculoskeletal dominate the kind of drivers for absence essentially in the workplace. In more recent times, and this comes in line with the recognition of the importance of one's mental health, but actually we see more mental health related absences as an industry now, and having an EAP in place, again with that timely access to professional counselling and advice, can actually help organisations really to address that if there are any concerns around absence for mental health. EAPs are often there and thought of as an early intervention really. So if you've an employee within the organisation who is perhaps on the cusp of needing to take time away from work to address concerns they've in their personal or professional life, then again an EAP is often a great tool and a valuable resource for those individuals and that organisation to provide support to employees at that particular juncture. Similarly, EAPs now are often a driver really for employees joining organisations. So we hear more and more frequently, and my partner works in recruitment, that employees are understanding and considering really the support services in place before they join an organisation. And sometimes that extends directly to, what support's in place for my mental health and my well-being. Is there an EAP in place? Will I have access to a counsellor if I have any concerns in my personal life, or if I need to access support in that way? And also, in a more nuanced sense, it's not just about whether an employee is in work or out of work, or whether they join a company or don't choose to join a company because of an EAP, but actually it's around productivity as well. So there's something called presenteeism, and really that's, okay, great, you've turned up to work today, but how productive are you going to be? You know, how able are you to focus on the tasks at hand today? Are there things that are taking up a lot of bandwidth in your mind today? Are you concerned about your children, a relationship, you know, things outside of work, a sports team that you're part of that's not going too well, whatever it is? You know, having an EAP in place actually helps employees when they're at work but they're concerned about things to have an opportunity to access support for any concerns that they may be harboring. So it's, again, not just a kind of a black and white, well, employees can get back into work with an EAP. This is about helping those that are almost working well, so to speak, as the phrase in the industry is said. I do just want to come on to talk a little bit about more broadly counselling itself. So people, of course, are very aware of EAPs and the fact that you can access counselling through an EAP. What I'd like to do today is try to demystify what counselling actually is, because we've all heard of the word counselling, but I'm not 100% sure that outside of the industry, unless you've had personal contact with it or you've got some link to it, that people often understand fully what counselling is there for. So counselling is an effective tool to help people if they're affected by stress, low mood, anxiety, or depression, for example. It's a form of talking therapy, and it can be used effectively to support you with a wide range of issues in life. That could be issues around relationships, family concerns, if you've been bereaved, as we all are at different times in our lives, if there are issues in the workplace with, you know, relationships with managers or other colleagues, or it could be that there's difficult life events that bring back, you know, difficult memories to relive, for example. And, you know, that could be that you've sort of gone to a wedding and actually it's brought back, you know, thoughts of other weddings that perhaps you'd rather not reflect on. Anything of that nature, really, counselling is very effective in helping you to work through. Within an EAP, all of our counsellors are qualified with a minimum of diploma in training, and within Care First, they're all BACP accredited as well. So you can be assured that when you're speaking to a counsellor through an EAP, they are a highly qualified individual who is really best placed to support you with the concerns that you're experiencing. Within an EAP setting, it's important to recognise that the counselling you can access is short-term in nature, and by that we mean that it's not open-ended. So you won't begin to see a counsellor through an EAP and have that counselling going on for months and months and months. It's typically a short course of counselling, and it's really about trying to understand, you know, what your issue is and where you're looking to get to with that. You know, is it being able to sleep without thinking about things at night before you're trying to go, you know, off to bed? Rather than delving too deeply into the past, it's really about, okay, where are you now and how can we get you to where you need to be? You know, what is that change in life? What does it look like? Where would you like to be in life that currently, you know, you're not and you're struggling with some concerns? And with EAPs providing timely access to counselling, in many instances, it's just that you might need to speak to a counsellor as a one-off conversation, and they might help to equip you with strategies to cope with your anxiety or your low mood at different times. It could also be that actually it's recognised that a referral for a limited number of sessions is going to benefit you more so. And again, in that case, it may be that through the EAP, you're referred for perhaps 6 or 8 sessions of counselling to help you with the concerns that you're experiencing. More specifically, looking at how counselling can have a positive impact on your mental well-being, counselling can help you to feel perhaps less overwhelmed or less alone with the problems you're experiencing. And we've all heard of that phrase, you know, problem shared is a problem halved. But actually, just offloading those concerns that you're perhaps burdened with, in many senses, can support your well-being. And it's important to recognise that when you're having that conversation with a counsellor, counselling by its nature is impartial. It's supposed to be non-judgmental. So you're speaking to a clinical professional who is there to help you. They're not going to judge the things you're saying or the way you're feeling about different situations. So you truly can feel, or hopefully can feel, comfortable, and there's a relationship of trust between you, so that you can disclose the way you're feeling without worrying, you know, where that information is going to go and into whose hands that information will end up. So it's really an opportunity to unburden yourself and feel perhaps less overwhelmed with the concerns you're experiencing. Counselling has different mechanisms for different individuals. So some individuals go to a counsellor hoping the counsellor is going to help them see a different perspective on the issue in their life they're experiencing. Others hope actually, they're not in control of that situation anymore, and they would like help to gain some sense of control and have a feel like they're in control of their situation or control of that particular element of their life. Other people just want to rant and offload and have an opportunity to talk to somebody who is really there for that role. So they're not going to a friend and on a daily basis just offloading and kind of perhaps impacting their friendship with that person by doing so. This is a professional whose role it is really to listen to you and to be what it is to you that's going to help you make the change for the issues that you're experiencing. Counselling can often be challenging as well, and this is something that we often say within the EAP setting. Sometimes individuals think that a counsellor is just going to listen to you and console you and say, I'm so sorry that that's happened to you, and I understand why you feel the way you do. As well as that, and in some settings, counselling will challenge your view and the actions that have led you to the situation you're in there. So, if you find yourself in a cycle of emotions and actually you're not willing to look at how that happens and why you get into that situation, then perhaps you're not going to change the situation you're in. So in some senses, a counsellor may challenge the things that you do and the things that contribute to the situations that you end up in. So from that perspective, counselling can be challenging because sometimes your behaviours and actions will be challenged or questioned by the counsellor to help you see that actually sometimes that's the way to break in the cycle that we're in. Counselling can also empower you, lastly, as well, and that's a lot of what counselling is about. It's about empowering you as an individual to make the decisions that are going to change your life for the better. So, it's often that individuals are aware of the situation they're in. They don't need to be told what the problem is, but actually they need a route out of that problem. They need that pathway and that support to find the pathway that's going to help them with the issues that they're experiencing.